Hey guys,
Hey, I'm good.
how are you guys doing?
Had an okay weekend, pretty chill. Just binged a show on
No, I
Netflix.
haven't been
Oh
doing
yeah,
much of
Um,
anything. I don't have very
it's
much
been a
work. It all
whole
that's
dried
it.
up.
I
it's been
took
a
a
long
walk
time.
So
because the weather was nice,
I'm just hanging
but
out
otherwise I didn't do
and
much.
watching Netflix shows.
So how's
It
school
seems
going
like
for you?
every day feels
Again,
like Monday,
the whole COVID thing, you
and
can't
when
really
it's
go
not
to
Monday,
class
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know what
can't
day
wait
it
for it
is.
to rain again. It looks like it's going to, but
I was actually in
trying to post more myself
and I know it's mostly a privilege.
I was alone, or so it seemed, forced to listen to the TV screen, forced to consider my life for what it was, not fully awake, not fully aware of who or what I was. I lost all my work in the shelter at home. I wasn't panicked at first. I am bravest in extreme adversity. I quickly turned inward and swam in the tears. I found that the pain had been waiting there for years. Those too afraid to look inward will lash out in fear. I am an addict. I show all the signs. Impulsive and mindless. I feed my pain. I sit every day in the silence of love, the container for my existence.
In general, I'm a loner, by choice. The global pandemic has shown me that I don't have to be. When lockdown began, I, like many, had to make major adjustments to my social and professional life. I began to notice major changes in my physical and my mental health. How do you quell the dark creeping in when your normal avenues of respite are gone? I gave myself a challenge. Now, I still played my guitar, but with nowhere near the skill I once had. With not much left more than a few half-remembered chords and songs, my challenge was to truly begin playing again. I wanted to hone new skills and teach myself new techniques. So one evening after dinner, I took my guitar onto my front porch and just played. I played for hours and hours. The journey had begun. Around April, everyone was getting the hang of lockdown. People were outside more, they were running, walking, and enjoying life in the city the best way they knew how. I was finally getting to meet my neighbors. Every day I would sit on my front porch with an old guitar and challenge myself to learn a new song. While doing this one Friday, my neighbor walked over holding a little flute case and asked if she could play. Socially distanced, of course. We then spent the next several hours entertaining her husband with our many successful and many not so successful attempts to cover a wide variety of different genres. This singular event has led to collaborating with many different musicians. It gave me courage and confidence to talk to new people and learn new skills. I've since worked with bassoonists, transcribed music for my brother-in-law's church. I've helped a friend learn one of his favorite works and played my own music for my friends. I began writing my own music again, and I've been forced to confront my own demons in turn. Not only has this one moment of human connection helped my playing, it's helped my soul. Solitude has opened a world for me I never knew could exist. The small act of making music changed things. It changed me.
I grew up an outsider, an atheist raised in the Bible Belt, a vegetarian raised in the land of barbecue, a Democrat raised in a red state, a little quiet weirdo no one ever seemed to get. It took me a while to learn how to find and build a community around me, but it was such a necessary way for me to combat the loneliness and isolation I often felt growing up. I once had a complete mental breakdown because someone invaded my personal space for 2 seconds too long. That someone is now a good friend, and she meant well, but we were at work, and work cubicles are tiny, and work is anxiety-inducing, and people standing over my shoulder or talking too close to my face is an extreme micro-trigger for me. She was new to our team, very friendly, spent a lot of time in my cube with her arm on the back of my chair, talking directly inside my proverbial personal space bubble, and one afternoon I just lost it. I am the kind of person that people who don't know me very intimately describe as quiet and sweet and nice. I am nice. I genuinely and fiercely care for the people I love, and I am passionate about treating people justly. I'm often too scared to speak up in large groups of people, even if they are close friends, because I don't want to have said something dumb. I desperately want people to like me and think I am cool, so I sit there like a silent idiot, hoping, I guess, to give off mysterious James Dean vibes. When strangers smile at me, I find it absurd and unkind that the expectation is for me to smile back. What if I'm tired or angry or lost in thought and don't feel like generating the energy to fake an emotion for you, complete stranger to whom I owe nothing? When the reality of COVID-19 first hit in March, and our company leadership instructed us to work from home, I did not mind. So long as I could take home the necessary equipment and my cactus mouse pad, I figured I would be good. On day 2, I imagine my coworkers are going insane. I imagine them running, pulling their hair out, and yodeling. They do not like being alone. They miss those morning coffee chats, man. I am okay, I think. Now, I don't have any nosy so-and-sos just starting up a conversation with me while I am 150 rows deep in Excel. I can get used to this. On day 3, I am not okay. I realize that I am talking aloud all day. I am anxious. I pick up the phone a lot. I am going a bit stir crazy. I miss people. I miss work conversations. I miss interactions. I miss shouting, "Are you kidding me?" at my computer and having someone say, "What now?" genuinely waiting to commiserate. I figured I would be born for this. Did I actually get my energy from people all this time? Well then, why had I only lasted a mere 2 days before I wanted to be back at work? Back in the world? Back with all the people? I think this unexpected shift simply speaks to the power of community in my life. If it were socially acceptable, I would spend much of my time sitting, surrounded by my favorite people, my community, and I would listen to them laugh and talk, but I wouldn't speak much. Or maybe I would, but there would be no expectation, no obligation. I could simply sit and share the space with them. Feel the energy of the room shift as the story moved from a comedic anecdote to a cry of outrage to a moment of empathy. And I would just know that my presence was accepted. Throughout the years, I learned how to find my people. Those that accepted my weird. Those that challenged me. Those that let me be me. And even beyond that, I learned to see the tiny ways communities developed without my intending them to. Pre-isolation, I spent my day moving through tiny microcosms of community. First, sharing a quiet early morning moment with the other East Memphis Starbucksers who made it a part of their daily routine to pay too much for a caffeinated kickstart. Then, whether I liked it or not, building camaraderie with the people I spend literally most of my time with, comparing stories of ridiculous customers or horrifying morning traffic. Even when I would stop to pick up dinner at Fresh Market on the way home, there were nods of acknowledgement from fellow weary travelers ready to relax after a long day. Human connection to me is not just a conversation, a touch, a note. It's a presence, it's a sensation. It's standing in the middle of a crowded audience at a concert and feeling inside of you the way the music is moving everybody around you. It is a call and response. It is a vibration. I miss you. I miss knowing you are there, surrounding me with your energy and reminding me that I am here and I belong.
I miss my coffee boyfriend, Abdul. He gave me free iced dirty chai lattes most mornings. It made me smile sometimes and feel a little bit awkward, but in an endearing way. Before heading across the street to my soul-sucking job as an administrative assistant, where I mostly help out old women named Babs or Gloria figure out how to navigate the Google. This is a story about Abdul and all the strangers who work behind counters, feeding and caffeinating me, who I wish could be my real friends. In the time before everything was different, I was in a very transactional flirtationship with a tall, handsome, bespectacled man with a soft-looking belly and a crisp accent. Dirt chai? He would croon, handing me my sweaty beverage. Did he say dirty, extra dirty that time? Or am I imagining things? I would always fumble with my wallet, waiting for him to say, "No worries." This was all part of our routine. I would force some blush into my cheeks and blink bashfully, probably crustily, up at him, thanking him profusely for his kindness. The shop was always crowded, sterile, humid. The lighting was fluorescent and too bright for the morning, but it always smelled like warm croissants. And I knew Abdul wouldn't make me wait long in the crowd of very important, fancy business people for very long. About 9 months into our caffeinated addiction-fueled affair, Abdul finally introduced himself to me. "Hey, I'm Abdul." As if I already didn't know his name by stalking him via his co-workers. Come on, man. Telling each other our names suddenly made things more intimate. I felt a shift in the tectonic plates of propriety as we exchanged our given names. A definite breach of the Customer Barista Privacy Act of 2009. A week before everything was different, Abdul noticed that I wasn't wearing my glasses that day. "Hey, you're not wearing glasses." Like a middle school boy caught by his friends asking a girl he likes to dance at a spring fling, he blushed and looked around him in a panic to make sure none of his coworkers had heard. When he brought my drink over to me, he apologized for the comment. "Hey, sorry about that," which only endeared him to me more. What kind of a person tries to compliment a woman on her lack of spectacles and then apologizes immediately for the possibility of making her uncomfortable? That is a Jewish level of guilt, dude. That's my kind of shame. Later, hiding in my dark cubicle, pretending to work, sipping my sweet, syrupy energy and daydreaming about the food truck samples I would finagle later that afternoon, I realized that what I had with Abdul could only go a few different ways, so wanting to avoid any future interactions with another human that made either or both of us mildly uncomfortable, I decided to try out the other coffee shop across the street. Have you ever drank a cappuccino on draft? Have you ever had a heart drawn into the foam of your overpriced almond milk-based beverage by a bearded man in his mid to late 30s who is definitely not going to ever give you a free drink. So this is where the cool kids got their coffee. I was in hell. I was broke. And tragically, I stayed there for another week. What I would say to Abdul if I ever get the chance to see his adorable dimpled smile again. Abdul, I am so sorry I took what we had for granted. I miss you. Can't you see that? Some mornings I pour a Diet Coke into my mug and I weep for all the memories we never had. Could we have grown to be actual real life friends? Where are you now? I hope you're okay, Abdul. You made my days bearable. You made me feel seen. What did I ever do for you? I'm gonna find a way to make it up to you, Abdul. When this is all over, I promise I will find you and shyly ask you if you might join me for a friendly chat over a dirty iced chai and whatever it is that you drink sometime. And I hope you'll join me and that we'll have other things in common beyond frequenting coffee shops. Until then, your coffee girlfriend.
When you're a single person with no family, you're nobody's. You're everybody's, but you're nobody's everybody. You build your family around you, choosing and hoping they choose you back. You cobble together, you make do and mend with people you allow in. You're grateful, you're scared. You know it's tenuous and conditional. You get comfortable sometimes, when the night is warm and people are laughing, but you always know you're out and not in. You always know, no matter what they tell you, your heart reminds you of this. When you go home and it's late, it prepares. It reminds you of blood and water, both of which it knows well. So when the time came to shut our doors and shut our arms to the outside world, and define who was family, and define who got to stay, I was frightened. I braced. I knew I was alone. My skin lit on fire from lack. My skin was fire, and my heart was fear, and I was bracing. I was bracing for how long I might go without. I bought a lot of potatoes. I started taking my vitamins. I waited. But it's funny how, even when you're a single person and you're nobody's, sometimes you're everybody's in some sort of way. And it seems like they knew. Maybe it was pity, maybe it was love, but I was grateful anyway. My family still withstood. We spend a lot of time on porches now, contemplating what is to come, contemplating where we will go and how to prepare. We contemplate what we've lost. We drink a bit more wine, we grow a few more herbs, we share. It's a nice thing to know someone's rationed for you. It's a good thing to know that you won't be left behind. It's a sad fact, but nonetheless true, that I may never know the love my friends know with their spouses. I might not get that in this life, and I understand that to be so. We don't all get that, and perhaps that's not my lot. But when my worst scenario came, when everyone had to decide what family meant, who family was, I got to stay on the porch. I got to stay at the dinner table. And perhaps that was God's way of saying, "Child, see?
I was alone, or so it seemed, forced to listen to the TV screen, forced to consider life for what it was, empty and isolated. I miss the smell, the sense of collective gathering. How did I not sense it before? Not fully awake, not fully aware of who or what we are. Pain pushes until the vision pulls. The light pours in and potential is infinite. The container is love. I meet each heart with my heart, and with that one action, I connect.